Hello there, welcome to episode 8 of A Simple Life Knitting Podcast. The introductions always throw me. Thanks for being here. And I've seen a few of you just a couple of weeks ago in the latest Bungalow Diaries. I know so many of you have hung on and persevered through me spamming your YouTube feed with all my grotty thumbnails of my bungalow rebuild. So thanks for hanging on, knitting. And hello to everybody who I just have been seeing in the comments, and I know have been watching what we get up to in the bungalow. I'm in the sunroom. It is the only room in the house where that looks half decent. I would like to sit on the chair behind me, but if I sit on that chair, the camera is right up close and the backdrop is the bins, and you can see through into my kitchen window, and trust me, you don't want to see through my kitchen window. If you want to see how we're living and you haven't been watching the Bungalow Diaries, I go through a walkthrough of our current living state in the last 10 minutes or so of the last Bungalow Diary, and I'll link that down below if you're interested. Obviously, if you're not watching it, you probably aren't interested, but thanks for hanging on. All right then. Knitting. I've actually got quite a bit of knitting. I have three finished knits, and I have 2 on the go. So that's quite amazing because I have been super busy. I think it's been a case of work hard, play hard. I'm not daft. I know that when I push myself, I also need to have a rest as well. So I think there's been a lot of rest period in amongst the hard work that is moving house and moving into a house that's actually too small for us and has been pulled apart. So quite a bit of knitting. The first one is, if I get it the right way around, it is, can you see? Oh, this is not working. Can you see the bubbles on there? This is terrible. Oh, you can. This is the Fleur shawl. It is a free pattern by I'm getting the hang of it, look. A free pattern by Espace Tricot. And it is knit out of, look at me with my notes. I thought I need it because my garden is out there, and I love plants and gardening as much as I love making knitted fabric. And I get distracted and I lose my thoughts anyway. So I thought I better write notes because I'm going to be distracted by my plants, and already I can see I need to go and deadhead my lavender. So let's hope that this is not as much and arran as usual. So I'm knitting the Fleur out of Jamieson's of Shetland, and that is the DK, and it is in the colour Conifer. Now, if you've followed a while, you know that I tend to get my yarns in little batches as per my yarn budget for that month, and I had this in ready to do the Pressed Flowers shawl by Amy Christophers, and I was going to do it with a real pale Jamieson's of Shetland wool DK in like a pale pink. So I was waiting to buy the pale pink, but I just needed something easy. I just needed a knit, but I wanted something that was quite nice, and also I needed a scarf. I do need a scarf for the winter. We all do. I do have scarves. I didn't really need this one. However, do think that around my birthday time I am going to be able to get a Barber wax jacket. Now this has been on my wish list for many years, and we were nearly at the point of going up to Northumberland, in that they are a British made company and they're a Northeast made company. So we were going to go and get myself fit, try and get my lifelong dream of having a wax jacket when I was the larger bust size lady. Obviously that, thankfully we didn't. And last birthday, so last September, I was in between operations, so I'd had one big boob and flat on the other side, and David wanted to treat me for my birthday then. I was like, no, I've got a little bit more weight to lose, wait till I've lost this one. So I think this birthday I might be getting a brown wax jacket, and I'm really excited about it. So I kind of needed it, yeah. I have soaked this. It's still, Shetland is a scratchy wool, and usually I'm fine. I wear, I think I've said before, I wear bulky lopi. I think it's called that. The chunky let lopi. I can wear it on my forehead, not a problem. Around my neck's a different issue, and we will talk about that a little bit later on. It's okay, still a little bit scratchy, so I'm digressing again, but for reasons which will be explained in a moment, I've been shoving all my rustic yarns around David's neck. Can you cope with that? Can you cope with that? And I did it with this one, and I would like David to have a Shetland jumper, but I'm not sure he would cope with it. And he did say, he's learning, he did say, will it not soften when you soak it? And I was like, no, not really, it's already had a soak. And in that moment I thought, maybe if I try it again in some conditioner. Who does that? Who soaks her knits in conditioner? Hair conditioner? You're shouting at me, aren't you? You're telling me? She's a lovely lady, and I was the Swedish lady, Kia. Can't believe, Kia, if you're watching, I'm ever so sorry, because we were talking back in the other days of my other account when I was just a new podcaster. Kia soaks her knits in, from Kia's Bud, soaks her knits in hair conditioner. Am I flying? I feel like the adrenaline's getting to me. Calm down. We all say this. So I think when I'm finished the podcast, I will just give this a soak today in some hair conditioner and just see if we can soften it just for that portion of my neck a little bit more. So it is a really lovely knit. You start at the point and you increase every row, and it's just knit. You increase every row and you increase here as well. It is just a knit, and then every so often you put a row of bobbles in. Now there's 2 rows of bobbles in this, and I didn't have enough yarn to bring this to a completion. And also, in looking at the pictures, I mean, this is perfect for what I want it for as a scarf. Why I like a shawl for a scarf is because you don't have all the bulk, so I can just tuck this into my jacket collar, and it's in. If I have a scarf, I get really I overheat because there's so much bulk, because it's a long rectangle, isn't it? This is just a very thin slither, but I get all the warmth, and I can wrap it right round my neck here, and I'm warm here where I need it, and it's not overly warm. So that's, I was saying something else and I've lost my thought. What was it? The pictures on Espace Tricot. It's a lot bigger, and also I think without such would I call it Yeah, I would call this quite structured. It's quite a sturdy yarn, so it knits up at the gauge that I've knitted up. It quite stiff's the wrong word, but it's the only word that it's not as pliable, and I've seen some lovely pictures using different yarns, maybe a merino, maybe even a super wash type yarn. The drape would be a lot nicer, even at this gauge. But that wasn't what I was after. So I didn't get the pressed flowers shawl. This is letting me go past 10 minutes. That's bizarre. It normally cuts me off. Hopefully this is recording. So I didn't get... Nothing ever changes. The backdrop might, but I don't. It's getting a bit warm in here as well. What is it? It's 18.3 degrees C outside and it's 22.4 in here. Brilliant. All right, so I didn't get my pressed flowers shawl. I suspect in the future I will. Not this year. There's loads to do. Loads to knit. It's getting cold. I don't regret it. It's what I needed at the time, and it's a lovely little pattern. I think I've spoken all I can about the Fleur from Espace Tricot. Let me take it off. Woo-hoo. I did manage to finish my vanilla socks, and I knit these out of don't think, Michelle, it's in front of you. It's West Yorkshire Spinners, the Zandra Rhodes Signature 4-ply, 75% wool containing 35% Blueface Leicester and 25% nylon. So these are my welly socks. I have some, I'm so sorry, it's warming up. Could probably do, I might open a window. It's gone. I've knitted these socks out of that yarn. They're just vanilla. When we were moving, David found a ball of Drops Nord. Drops Nord is alpaca and 45% alpaca, 30% polyamide, 25% wool. It's a sock wool, I do believe, and he found that down by my bedside table when we moved. Here's me saying I know exactly what I've got. I don't stash yarn. I know, and that was I know how that's happened, and it was last year, so I'm forgiving myself for that. So yes, I have finally worked out what I need for a Afterthought heel. Usually I like doing an Afterthought heel, especially because you can get the contrast colours. So I like doing them because sometimes putting the heel flap and gusset heel in is kind of, it takes me a little bit longer, and I like to just knit. We've established that, haven't we? I just like to knit. So I do like the Afterthought heel, but I wasn't making them big enough, and it was making my socks not fit my foot properly. So I've worked out what I need for my foot, and it's worked out brilliantly. So that's great. The Drops Nord is in plum. It's there. It's in the plum colour, and the Zandra Rhodes is in the Bluebell Mist colour. So those are my little ankle Wellington boots for wearing out there. I have a third finished knit. The story of the Billy sweater. That was no longer a Billy sweater, turned into a My Favourite Things sweater number 18 for David, for my husband. And last night I wove in the last end, and it's complete. It is complete. Look at that crease. Yeah, never mind. Oh. This sweater, it has been the bane of my life. It took me, I've still got it, sorry for the rustle, still got it. Pulled the needle, pulled the wire out, but I still have the yoke that I struggled on for 4 months to get to this point. Not that I can't knit, not that I can't knit the stitches, not that I can't do it. It's a beautiful design, beautiful. It was my thought processes that was a barrier to me. So in a stressful moment, it's all in the last knitting episode, I changed allegiances and I knit this. And it has been a brilliant project for me at this time. The construction is sensible, it is charted, but it is written step by step. So all I had to do was go on my Knit Companion app and follow Knits and Pearls. That's all it is, Knits and Pearls. Step by step. Lovely, lovely texture. It works brilliantly in the drops Nepal because you have that warmth and that thickness, but you also have the drape. When David tried it on before, when did he try it on? He tried it on before I blocked it. I'd finished it, that's right, I'd finished it with all the ends were still hanging out, and I wanted to, just before I soaked it, he tried it on and he said, oh, it's a little bit short in the body, and I knew anyway because of the texture, the stitches would relax, but I knew with it being quite alpaca based in this one, and it would just drop, and it has. And last night he tried it on, and I got quite emotional actually. I don't know, I've knit myself a lot of things, and it was just, I just wanted him to have a wool sweater. I do worry about the state of the world, and I do worry about paying to heat the house I don't need to explain, we all understand, we all know what I'm getting at. And he has a really warm sweater now. Going back to the written construction, so this is a drop sleeve. You know, I'm learning about drop sleeve construction. I think this is the construction for me. So I picked up stitches for the armholes. I picked up stitches around the armholes to put the arms in. And you know, when you do a sleeve and you have to decrease and maybe 10 times in after so many rows, and you have to remember that, and that's not a problem, you know, I'm fine, you know, there's ways of doing it, put markers in, and I use the Knit Companion app. But again, because the sleeve is textured, you do it in pattern, and My Favourite Things has wrote how to do the sleeve line by line, row by row, so you don't even have to remember where to put the decreases in for the sleeve. And the only thing I've changed, I've done it exactly 100%, but the only thing I've changed is this cuff needed to be a lot longer, and I didn't think David would like that, and I think I do actually think it's a right amount of stitches on that, so that works. In terms of, I would say this, the construction of this ensures that you get a really quite, it's such a neat construction. There isn't any room for error. I would say, as long as you can knit, you can purl, and you can make one, you can, a beginner. This is, I think so much that this is a beginner pattern. I think it's beginner friendly anyway. I think you could learn something from it, but it is a basic construction. So it is finished. I do have, let me show you without crinkling. So I do have all of this left, plus the yarn that's in here. I think a slip over. I think a vest for me. I don't know which pattern. I think I would quite like to, hold it with a mohair of sorts, a lighter one, to try and lighten the colour up, so I'm not walking around in the same shade of grey as what David is. I don't know what pattern. I haven't knuckled that down, but it's lovely. I feel like I've got a free knit. I knew I over ordered for this because I didn't want to play yarn chicken, and I knew it would take me a long time, and there were the chances of ordering more yarn in the forgotten what it's called, in the dye lot that I needed was probably next to nothing, and I didn't want to have that problem, so I over ordered anyway. But I think, I mean, we can see crinkle. There's more in this. I mean, this part here is quite heavy. Yeah, we know what happened there. Okay, so, but it's a happy thing to, don't put it in creased up like that, Michelle. Yeah, so David can have his jumper now. I gifted to him last night, and I took it straight back off him. You may remember that I was knitting the Weekend Delight by Andrea Mowry with the Woolyknit cone in the colourway Derby Tweed. Is it going to focus in for me? Can we go right up close? How do we do it? Can you see? It's gone funny. Oh dear. Anyway. I think I need a better camera. So yes, there's not much on this cone, so you would be forgiven for thinking that I had finished the Weekend Delight. However, the reason why there's not much left on the cone is because I have put it into 2 balls, because I'm not making the Weekend Delight anymore. Sorry, Jo. Jo was the lady that got me onto the pattern. She's got me onto the drop sleeve construction, really. And I looked at that pattern because I'd had problems with my necklines, and I don't know what suits me or what fits me. The neckline of the Weekend Delight goes right up high. I thought, well, that's not going to gape, that's not going to drape. I can work with that. Knit it all, and all of the body, sewed the shoulders together. Attached the shoulders together, and I hated the feeling of having pure British wool. It's a little bit spiky. It hadn't been even soaked at that point because I hadn't done the arms. I just hated it. It was like it's kind of like an envelope, and there's just this line that goes across there. I hated it. Well, I'm not going to wear it. I'm just not going to wear it. So what's the point? Now, usually what would happen would be a podcaster would probably hang on to that and show you it. But I ripped mine out straight away, put it back on the cone, and then weighed out 2 balls in the appropriate weight that I needed to knit the Field Day cardigan by Ozetta. Okay, now this is just going to be a jumble because it's not very Yeah, it's a jumble. Let's see if we can do a close-up of the stitches, because it's just a knit stitch. This is not working, is it? So basically with this cardigan is you start off knitting this flap that's about that big, and then you attach it to, no you don't, you start off knitting, where am I? I'm completely confused. Right, that's the back bit. You start off by knitting, that's why. I can't work it out. I'm going to pause it. Right, we're there a little bit. So you start off by knitting this back section. You cast on that amount, and then you start. I like how the construction of this goes. Actually, it's a very sensible construction. German short rows as part of German short rows. I only did this 2 weeks ago. Can't remember. Yeah, I'm sure it's anyway. That's the back increased. That's the back shoulder. That's the little bit of the neck. So that's the cast on, and that's the other side of the back shoulder. And then you stop, and then you knit. Where's that? I didn't leave go. Then you knit a little tab, and you attach the tab into, I can't remember. Anyway, eventually you start knitting the front. You pick up stitches on the back shoulder, and you start knitting the front, and you incorporate that original tab into the knitting. So you're knitting the button band as you go. Lovely, lovely, lovely pattern. It is well explained. It's a simple construction, really. I'm just butchering it because my memory's rubbish. So thoroughly enjoying this. However, I have put it on the back burner because I'm going to have to pause it and go and get the next stage anyway. So this one, I'm not knitting on this just now because I've fallen hook, line and sinker for the next project. I've never hid the fact that I shop in charity shops, and that goes for my clothes as well. And I don't go in and just, I kind of shop to a list of what I need. So for instance, at the minute I am looking for an appropriate ceramic pot, something to put my teaspoons on for my tea and coffee station, and I'm also looking for a navy or a burgundy corduroy A-line skirt. So I'm quite specific in what my shopping list of what I go in for. But if something jumps out at me while I'm looking for those things, I will, I'll give it a go. I found this in, which one was it? The British Heart Foundation. Oh, sadly, it's a skirt, by the way. Sadly, it's not wool. It is acrylic. It's lined. I mean, it's like, for those of us that are in the UK, it's just an Asda George skirt. So there's nothing, there's no natural fibres in this at all, and it would have been quite cost effective to buy in the first place. But I love it. I don't know if the colours are being picked up, but it's a dark navy, white, red, and a light blue in there. This isn't the next project, by the way. This is the introduction to the next project. It needs there's a little bit of green in there as well. It does need some stitching to stitch that back down, but I can do that, no problem. I don't normally wear short skirts, but I thought in the winter with a really thick pair of tights, I might treat myself to some wool tights this year. for the warmth. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to wear with some thick black tights. And it got my mind whirring, as it does. What could I wear with this on the top? And I thought, an oversized shirt. I could wear an oversized shirt with it. That's what I quite fancied. And of course, being a knitter, straight away, you're probably the same. What can I knit? And because I was doing Ozetta's field day cardigan, it hadn't been that long since I browsed Ozetta's patterns. So I am knitting, I need my notes, it's gone, the Miles shirt jacket. So yes, so I'm using the Miles shirt jacket by Ozetta, which is also called Hayley Smedley from memory, I think. And I'm knitting it in, you're not going to guess, are you? Of course you are. Plates of Plotulopi. You might remember that I knit the Felix cardigan out of one strand of Plotulopi. I had a little bit of an experiment, and would you believe I am able to use that through the summer? That is so light and so thin, and it doesn't crease. So I can literally stuff that cardigan in my backpack. I have like a brown, it's not leather, it is plastic. I wish it was leather because I love how it's kind of a backpack that turns into a cross the body bag, that turns into you can just hold it there as well, turns into like a little case in your hand. It's fab. I walk a lot, especially here. I walk, it's a 3.3 mile walk to get to civilization from here, which I've done a few times now with my shopping trolley. I do take a shopping trolley to the shops. So even I might get the weather a little bit mixed up, and normally I'm out early in the morning, so to have that in my bag if I'm not wearing enough layers, even in the summer, first thing in the morning, I just pop that over whatever I'm wearing, and that's enough. And it only lasts, probably it's only on 10-20 minutes, and it's back off again because I'm too warm. But to have that in my bag, it's really, really handy. And I think for the autumn, is a layered piece. Could I cope with a layered piece made of Plotulopi? I'm not sure, because it could be a little bit spiky, but I think I would like a one-stranded Felix sweater in the Plotulopi for the autumn. But I've got far too much going on in my head. So the Plotulopi, since using it, I have wanted to find a project that I could knit properly. I say properly. It's a very, we all know it, it's a very fine, I don't believe I've seen many people use the Plotulopi like I have with one strand. It's normally paired with something, and I've seen a lot on the internet about pairing it and making a fabric with it held double. So straight away, when I thought about the Miles shirt jacket, I was like, yes, an oversized, quite rigid jacket. So not even a cardigan, not even a sweater. I want this as a top layer because I could wear it with my jeans, I could wear it with trousers, it could be it could be I'm very excited about this project. So here it is. Now this is a sturdier fabric. I am getting gauge 2 needle sizes down from the recommended needle size, and I'm a tight knitter. So maybe in the grand scheme of things, this isn't the best yarn to use for the design of the jacket. However, it is the perfect yarn to use for what I want it for. So this is the back portion, and this is probably, it's a similar construction to the one that I've just butchered trying to tell you. You start off here and then you increase along the back, but it's a slightly different way. And then if I turn it around, I've got 2 sides on here. Knits up quite quickly, of course. We've got a V going here and we've got a V going here. And it's a drop shoulder construction. I'm not sure if I'm going to put the button bands. Of course I'm going to put a button band on, but I don't think I'm going to put buttons on it because what I want this foot to be, I don't think I will close it anyway. Not 100% decided because I will use this in the winter and I might want to fasten it. I might be cold to fasten. I need to put some thought into it. But basically I have under the sleeves, I've got another 1/2 inch to knit, and then I am on shaping the tail, shaping the bottom of the cardigan jacket, shirt jacket. So I love it. I just love Plotulopi. That's what it's about. Let's see if we can get in. I can't see if that's showing you the heathered look of the Plotulopi. Did have a disaster. Before I tell you that, I'll tell you that the colour of the Plotulopi that I'm using is Winter Blue Heather. Did have a disaster. I lost all my stitches off because my Knit Pro wire detached itself from its little, I've never had that happen before. It was on 125 centimetre wire and it just, more than enough to knit a cardigan on, and it just came off. Lost all my stitches. Thankfully with the Plotulopi, they just sit there, they don't go anywhere, it just sticks together. So I'll try and put some super glue into it and try and get it to knit together. It doesn't even want to push right back in. I don't know what happened. With that. So that is that. I think that is all I wanted to tell you about it. I think so. I think we've done everything about it. Usually what happens is I finish recording and every segment I realise I've missed something important off. But I think we've got everything. I forgot to say that skirt cost me £2.99, so just short of £3 in that charity shop, which I think it's even though it's not wool, I think it was probably a sound buy. Also, I'm going to have to stop knitting the shirt jacket, the Mile shirt jacket tomorrow, because I have some cascade light fingering coming with a little bit of mohair to knit myself a ranunculus, because in about 10 days time I will be going to my sister-in-law's in Scotland. There is a Highland Games. She is such a good crafts lady. She sells her crafts and she has a stall there. So we're going to enjoy the Highland Games. The girls are going to help that auntie on the stall, and I think on the afternoon I will let the girls go and I will help my sister-in-law on the stall. So I needed my knits that I have that fit are all DK and up, so I needed something with some warmth because it's a field all day in Scotland, and it's not the warmest place sometimes, is it? Although I think you've suffered like we have in England last week. What a week, eh? What a heat wave. And I know some of you are still experiencing hugely inflated warm temperatures elsewhere as well. Hope it all okay. But Scotland in the next couple of weeks is likely to not be the warmest, so I didn't it's still summer. I didn't think I needed something, and I needed something that I knew well and that I could knit quickly and that wouldn't be an expensive investment, and the ranunculus was just there. So I have some yarn coming, which I will have to just drop everything and start that tomorrow when that comes. So in the house move, I found my very first attempt at colourwork. I say found, my daughter had it. So I knit it for myself a good, probably about 7 years ago, when I first got back into knitting and when I learned how to do the purl stitch. So this is it anyway. This is the cowl, and remember, it was a free pattern. It was my introduction to Ravelry. What a find that was back then. I was like, I can't believe this. A free pattern, and it had something about Rhinebeck. I remember it had something about Rhinebeck. And I knitted out of, it was drops Nepal actually, three different colours of, no, 1, 2, 3, 4 different colours of drops Nepal. And at that time, I could do the knit stitch. And so I knew I would be all right trying to do the colour work. And that was fine. But at the time, I struggled with the purl stitch, believe it or not. I couldn't, especially changing from knit to purl. It was the change that I struggled with, and I was getting jumbled up. I've never heard a beginner knitter say that they struggled to learn the purl stitch. So if that was you, solidarity. But yeah, I struggled. So to produce this, I was chuffed with it. I was over the moon with it, but I felt like it was a little bit too childish, can you believe? So I've never worn it. So at the time, I think my daughter would have been about 8-year-old, and I gave it to her. And as we've moved these last few weeks, she's found it in a drawer, and it's back to me. And I'm going to wear it. I'm 42-year-old. I'm not bothered whether people think I'm wearing a childish cowl. How we change, eh? So I thought I would show you it because it's upside down. Because, yeah, that was my very first colourwork. And it's so neat. There are no tension issues with this. None at all. So I think life must have just got to me. So that was that. The next thing to say, you may remember, you probably do if you followed, I had been crocheting a Shetland big blanket thing that I've turned into a dressing gown cardigan. Oh, the sun's coming out. How warm are we in here now? 25.7. No hot flush, I'm doing well. Crochet, yeah, I was crocheting that dressing gown type house cardigan type thing and making it into a big slouchy cardigan. I can't find it. Now, I know I've seen it in this house. It has been in the bungalow. I had it draped over the back of my door. It's still, the ends weren't woven in, but I'd unpacked it. It was with my craft stuff, and I draped it over the back of the door because it's a long, slouchy, nowhere else to put it really. And at the time, we didn't have the wardrobe over. We were split between this house and the rental house. We had a couple of weeks where we could just take it easy with the move over. At the time, I had a charity bag going to donate excess clothing, things that we didn't need anymore, didn't want anymore. And I know that bag was in my bedroom. I have a horrible, horrible feeling that has gone in the charity bag and has gone out to be collected at the bottom of the drive. I have this horrible feeling because how, I don't know. I do know I was very absent-minded. Has it fallen off the door? Has it been just gathered over there in that pile? And it's just, I don't, it's obvious what that is. So I can't imagine for 1 second I've gone, oh, that's for the charity bag. I mean, it's obvious it's a home knit. But since I've had that charity bag, I cannot find it. There's nowhere else for it to go. We don't have cupboards to put things in. It's not here. So it has to have gone in the charity bag. And the thing that annoys me most is the ends weren't woven in. It wasn't finished. So if it has gone in the charity bag, it's not even saleable. So all that Shetland wool, it will be dumped. I know this. I used to volunteer in a charity shop. If that's where it is, disaster. Just disaster. If I find it, it will pop up again. If you don't see it, that's what's happened. And finally, last episode, I said the words, I have accepted that I will only ever be an intermediate knitter. And I'm cross with myself because I'm a stubborn, determined person, and I don't have to put limits on myself like that. I never look back, I never go back, I always move on. And since my illness, I have kind of decompartmentalised the past, and it's gone. And that includes knits. I know some of you were here from when I first started podcasting on the other channel that I deleted. I'm so pleased you found me. And the very last episode before I found my lump, I was talking about two things. One was the Into the Woods socks by Melody Hoffman. Still haven't knit them for the I did well saying it the first time, didn't I? Shoving all those, the past in the past. I am waiting for some yarn, which I'll explain next episode, to make those Into the Woods socks. I am doing them. And it's not that isn't difficult. I think it'll be a good stitch to learn and a lovely pattern. I still love it. But the ability to go, yes, bring something out from the past and work on it, that's good going for me. So I'm chuffed with that. But what started that off was when I said the words, I will never be anything better than an intermediate knitter. And I wanted to do the Yale cardigan. Still want to do the Yale cardigan by a pattern by Marie Woolen. And I've been upset about it because I don't know whether I have the brain capacity to do it. Oh, I'm getting upset. Hang on. I share a lot of things, but you don't want to see me getting upset. Got me chamomile tea. Chamomile and fennel. Lovely, lovely tea. And I took the opportunity to go get the Shetland Book just to show you the Yale cardigan. So I've wanted to do it for so long, and I put it away. But something, when I said those words last time, it just triggered it, and I'm stubborn and I'm determined. But I've learned from the Billy sweater that I have to find a way to help. And part of the problem with the Billy sweater was the charts and the ability to flip from a chart to an increase and not have the ability to mark it as I go. So I rely on Knit Companion, and I rely on the ability to move the marker up to keep my place, and my row counts are right there. I don't think I can knit without that anymore. And I can't show you the charts. So let me just So this is the Shetland Book that I bought about 3 years ago. And let me just quickly whiz a chart. I can't do that anymore. And I need the knit companion. Now when I bought this book, with it came a downloadable version, an e-version. And at the time I was like, I don't need it, I just used a book, and you know, I got rid of it. So the thought processes in the last couple of weeks have, I reached out to Marie Wallen and I explained the situation. I gave her all the details about where I was living when this was delivered, and I gave them my email address, and in the hope that they had a record that actually I have bought this in the past, and would it be possible to have the e-version. And yeah, and they must have had a record of my purchase, because Marie Wallen, so one of Marie Wallen's company was lovely and sent me the downloadable version with a password to get into the file. So I haven't got the yarn yet, I haven't got that far, but what happened was it's don't get upset. Back when I started podcasting the first time, before I was poorly, Nikki from Knitting with Cat Hair, if you're with me, I know you will know Knitting with Cat Hair podcast, because we like the very similar things. And I've been catching up on the last couple of episodes from Nikki's just on Saturday morning, just gone. And Nikki announced that she was going to run a year of Marie Wallen again. And I'm joining Nikki's knit along. Because I'm going in, because it matters, because everything's aligned to help me. Stop. So yes, I'm going to be knitting the Yell cardigan. Imagine if I'd knitted last time. I had a 47-inch bust. I've now got a 35-inch bust. Imagine if I'd started it last time, and I would never have been able to wear it now. So there's reasons for everything. Hey, I'm sorry I've got upset. I'm so sorry if I brought you down. I had no idea that was going to happen. I didn't even shed it to you when I've been having these thought processes these last few weeks. My husband watches this. I bet his eyes have gone a little bit damp. Okay, put my glasses on. Take so much care of yourselves. It's rough in the world, isn't it? It's rough. Until the next time. Thanks ever so much for watching. Bye.